స్టార్ట్ అయిపోయింది. Good afternoon to all. Now I am going to discuss about aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides are the group of natural and semi-synthetic antibiotics that have polybasic amino groups which linked glycosidically to two or more amino sugars. These are the group of natural and semi-synthetic antibiotics having polybasic amino groups linked glycosidically to two or more amino sugars. The aminoglycosides are effective against gram-negative bacteria, which is Shigella, Salmonella, Pneumoniae. And the first discovered aminoglycosides is the streptomycin, which was discovered in 1944. All aminoglycosides are derived from the actinomycins. Now coming into the classification of the aminoglycosides, they can be broadly divided into two types, but it has been dependent on the usage of drugs and usage of the site where they used. That means systemic or topical administration. So first one is the dependent on the usage, that is systemic and topical aminoglycosides. Systemic aminoglycosides are streptomycin, gentamicin, kanamycin, amikacin, cysomycin, tobramycin, netilmycin. And topical aminoglycosides are neomycin and famotidine. And moving to another classification, this is the another classification has been given in some other books. This is this classification is dependent upon where they obtained from, the soil or actinomycins, which means, for example, suffix mycin, this is the obtained from Streptomyces, and suffix is a the suffix is MICIN. These drugs are obtained from Micromonospora, and which is obtained from genus like Streptomyces. Those drugs are streptomycin, kanamycin, neomycin, spectinomycin, and paramomycin. And some aminoglycosides are obtained from Micromonospora. Those drugs are amikacin, gentamicin, vancomycin, and astromycin. And coming to the history of the aminoglycosides, streptomycin was the first membrane discovered in 1944 by Waxman and his colleagues, and active against tuberculosis, bacilli. Neomycin was the next to be isolated in 1949, but it could not be used systemically, and others have been discovered later, and all aminoglycosides are produced by soil actinomycins. Moving to the sources of aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides are obtained from Streptomyces and Micromonospora purpura. Most of them are prepared from natural fermentation from various species of Streptomyces, and the exception are gentamicin, which is fermented from Micromonospora purpura, and amikacin, which was the first antibiotic obtained by chemical modification of kanamycin. Properties of the aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides are sulfate salts which are highly soluble in water and Solutions are stable for months. They ionize in solutions, nor absorbed orally, distributed in only extracellularly, and do not penetrate in brain and cerebrospinal fluids. All are excreted unchanged in urine. All are bactericidal and more active at alkaline pH and act by interfering the bacterial protein synthesis, which means all are bactericidal. Aminoglycosides, all drugs are bactericidal, which means it kills the bacteria by interfering or inhibiting the bacterial protein synthesis. And this is active against aerobic gram-negative bacteria, but spectrum is different. Aerobic gram-negative bacteria means such as this Shigella, E. coli, Salmonella, and Pneumoniae, and partial cross-resistance also occurs. Organisms resistance to one aminoglycoside may still respond to another aminoglycoside. And these drugs are narrow margin safety drugs. They all exhibit and causes phototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. Post-antibiotic effect, which means after stoppage of drug, it also shows antibiotic effects of some period. Aminoglycosides exhibit concentration dependent killing, that is, their increased concentration can kill more bacteria at rapid rate. They also causes significant post-antibiotic effect, which means that they continue to suppress bacterial growth several hours after fall in minimum inhibitory concentrations. Single daily dosing at least effective as and no more toxic than multiple doses. The renal cortical uptake of aminoglycosides is a capacity dependent saturable process, and a single large dose results is increased bacterial activity. Antibacterial spectrum is active against gram-negative bacteria such as Citrobacter, Enterobacter, E. coli, Proteus, Shigella, Pseudomonas, Enterococci, and Staphylococcus aureus. And streptomycin and kanamycin are active against Mycobacterium tuberculosis, while amikacin, gentamicin, and tobramycin are active against Streptococcus faecalis and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Here, streptomycin and kanamycin are active against Mycobacterium tuberculosis. That's why streptomycin is used in tuberculosis. It is used as a tuberculin drug. While amikacin, gentamicin, and tobramycin are active against Streptococcus faecalis and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. They are not effective against gram-positive bacilli, gram-negative cocci, and anaerobes. Coming to the mechanism of action, the mechanism of action is mainly bactericidal, and it can be described into two ways. That is, one is the transport of aminoglycosides through the bacterial cell wall and cytoplasmic membrane, and second one is the binding to the ribosome resulting in inhibition of the protein synthesis. First one is the transport of aminoglycoside through the bacterial cell and cytoplasmic membrane. Second one is the binding to the ribosome resulting in inhibition of protein synthesis, which means transport of aminoglycoside through the bacterial cell wall and cytoplasmic membrane depending upon the polarity and oxygen dependent active process, which means here you can see this is the first step mechanism of action of the aminoglycosides. Here bacterial cell, this is the bacterial cell, this is the bacterial cell wall, this is the here you can see this pink one is the periplasmic membrane, and this green line is the cytoplasmic membrane of the bacteria. So here first aminoglycoside penetrates bacterial cell wall through the porin channel, which is nothing but the aqueous pores that are present in the cell membrane, then they are going to reach periplasmic space. After the periplasmic space, it enters into the cytoplasmic membrane. This across the cytoplasmic membrane by electron transport chain. So this penetration is dependence upon the maintenance of polarized membrane, and this polarized membrane maintains by oxygen and also penetrates into the activated by increasing the pH. This is the first step of the aminoglycoside mechanism. And moving to second step, when it enters to the cytoplasmic membrane, what will happen? Second step is binding to the ribosome, resulting in the inhibition of the protein synthesis. The aminoglycoside act on bacterial 30S ribosome and distortion the messenger ribonucleic acid translation of the genetic code. So it's prevent the formation of normal complex sequence to initial protein synthesis. Which means you can see here, this is the second step. When aminoglycosides enters into the cytoplasmic membrane, it binds to the, here you can see this is the 30S, this is the ribosome, this is the 30S subunit, and this is the 50S subunit of the ribosome. When aminoglycoside enters into the cytoplasmic reticulum, it binds to the 30S ribosome, 30S and 50S ribosome interface. This is the 30S and 50S ribosome interface. This aminoglycoside combined binds with this interface. It inhibits, now this the binding of the aminoglycoside binding inhibits freezing or stoppage of the protein synthesis and prevents the polysome formation. This leads to distortion of the mRNA codon recognition occurs, which results in misleading of the protein synthesis. So here, this is the growing peptide chain. When aminoglycoside command binds with 30S ribosome, it interferes with the growing peptide chain. It inhibits protein synthesis and misleading amino acids. This is the second mechanism of the aminoglycosides. So first one is the aminoglycoside enters or penetrates into the cell membrane by the porine channel to the cytoplasmic membrane. The when aminoglycoside enters into the cytoplasmic membrane, this aminoglycoside command binds with the 30S ribosome. When aminoglycoside command binds to the 30S ribosome, what will happen? It inhibits the protein synthesis of the bacteria. This is about the mechanism of action of aminoglycosides. Next, coming into the resistance of the aminoglycosides. There are various types of mechanism of resistance. First one is the acquisition of the inactivating enzymes. Now, inactivate enzymes acquired by the bacteria either by conjugation or transfer of plasmids, which means the inactivated enzymes acquired means acquired inactivated enzymes. What inactivated enzymes do? The inactivated enzymes phosphorylate or adenylate or acetylate the aminoglycosides to form conjugated aminoglycoside. This conjugated aminoglycoside do not bind to the target ribosome. So the protein synthesis is not happened and desired effect of the drug is not happened. So here acquisition of inactivate enzymes to form conjugated aminoglycoside by the enzymes acetyl transferase, phosphotransferase and adenyl transferase. This When it forms conjugated aminoglycoside, this do not bind to the ribosome. It do not bind to the ribosome, so it inhibits. It does not act the inhibition of protein synthesis. So resistance will occur. This is the first step of the resistance of aminoglycosides. Moving to next step, resistance is by mutation. This is reduced affinity of the ribosomal proteins in that normal binds to the aminoglycoside, resulting into the resistance. Means normally it binds to the aminoglycoside but reduced affinity of the ribosomal proteins. Mutation may alter ribosomal binding site for the aminoglycoside. It prevents binding to 30S ribosome. Then it occurs resistance. Resistance of drug. And another mechanism of resistance is the failure of drug penetration. Is decreased aminoglycoside transport. It is reduced efficiency of aminoglycoside transport mechanism. The pores are presented, aqueous pores are presented on the bacterial cell wall. Results become less permeable, so less active transport of aminoglycosides is interfered. And coming to the pharmacokinetics of aminoglycosides, it is highly absorbed, highly ionized, and absorption is less from GIT. Very poor absorption from gastrointestinal tract. Rapidly absorbed from intramuscular absorption. Peak plasma concentration within 30 to 90 minutes. And poor penetration in eye and cerebrospinal fluid. It is highly concentrated in renal cortex and inner ear because it causes nephrotoxicity and ototoxicity. Aminoglycosides are highly concentrated in renal cortex and inner ear because it causes ototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. It is distributed extracellularly, 20 to 30% is distributed, high concentration in renal cortex. So it causes nephrotoxicity. It is concentrated in endolymph and perilymph of inner ear, so it causes ototoxicity. Aminoglycosides do not cross blood-brain barrier. It may cross placenta. They get distributed in synovial, pleural, and peritoneal fluids. And aminoglycosides are excreted unchanged in urine. It is rapidly excreted by glomerular filtration. Plasma half-life is 2 to 4 hours. After chronic dosing, 2 to 3 weeks of drug persist in urine. In elder people and neonates, the drug dosing should be low as the low glomerular filtration rate. Adverse effects, it causes ototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. It can produce ototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. Ototoxicity due to vestibular and auditory damage causes loss of hearing, vertigo, and tinnitus. Vestibular and cochlear part affected with the aminoglycosides. This is the adverse effect of aminoglycosides. These drugs get concentrated in labyrinthine fluid, so it causes ototoxicity. Is the more when plasma concentration of drug is high. Ototoxicity is more or greater when plasma concentration of the drug is high. Vestibular and cochlear sensory cells get destructive changes because of this aminoglycosides is conjugated, and it is contraindicated. And adverse effects, early signs of vestibular toxicity causes headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, ataxia, vertigo, and serious ototoxicity also can occur with ear drops. So it is contraindicated drugs. Cochlear damage due to loss of hearing, vertigo. The symptoms of loss of hearing, vertigo, tinnitus on stopping drug tinnitus. Tinnitus is the reversible when the stoppage of drug. it is disappears. And risk of toxicity, when it will get high dose of aminoglycosides, long duration of aminoglycosides, inefficient renal clearance and dehydration. This is the risk of toxicity of the aminoglycosides. And vestibular dysfunction when it occurs, it will take streptomycin, and when it will take streptomycin and gentamicin. These drugs causes vestibular dysfunction, and amikacin and kanamycin, these drugs causes auditory dysfunction. Nephrotoxicity, tubular damage resulting in loss of urinary concentration power, decreases glomerular filtration rate, nitrogen retention, and albuminuria, and casts like hyaline and granular casts. Aminoglycosides attain high concentration in renal cortex and toxicity. It is related to the total amount of drug receiving the drug by patient. It is more in elderly and those pre-existing kidney diseases. However, the kidney, and so there is reduced glomerular filtration rate. Another adverse effect is neuromuscular blockade. It is the all aminoglycosides reduced acetylcholine released from motor nerve endings. They have curare-like actions and cause neuromuscular blockade that can cause paralysis and fetal respiratory arrest. They may cause apnea on injection, on when we'll give IV injection. This blockade, if severe, means you can give neostigmine. This neuromuscular blockade is treated with neostigmine. And other adverse effects of aminoglycosides are rashes, hematological abnormalities, bleeding, and superinfection. Precautions and interactions of aminoglycosides: avoid during aminoglycosides avoid during pregnancy because it causes fetal ototoxicity, and avoid concurrent use of other ototoxic drugs like high ceiling diuretics and minocycline, and avoid concurrent use of other nephrotoxic drugs like amphotericin B, which is antifungal drug, vancomycin and cephalothin, and cyclosporin, which is the immunosuppressant drug. These are also avoid along with aminoglycosides. And also use in patients past middle age and in those with kidney damage. And cautions with skeletal muscle relaxants. And do not mix, this is the main important point, do not mix aminoglycosides with any other drug in same syringe or infusion bottle. And preparations: amikacin, gentamicin, kanamycin, netilmicin, tobramycin, paramomycin. These all are the systemic aminoglycosides. Amikacin is a 50 milligram and 250 milligram drug is available in vials that is used in intramuscular and intravenous injections. Gentamicin is available as a 10 milligram and 40 milligram per ml vials. It is also used in IM and IV injections. Kanamycin is also available in 500 milligrams and 1000 milligrams. It is also used in intramuscularly and IV injections. It is also available as oral tablets, 500 milligrams like capsules. And netilmicin is also available 100 milligrams per ml in vials. It is also used as IV injections, used in IV injections. Streptomycin 1 gram powder to reconstitute for the intramuscular injection. Tobramycin 10 and 40 milligrams per ml in vial, and it is used in intramuscular and IV injections. Paramomycin is available in 250 milligrams capsules. And uses of aminoglycosides: it is used in septicemia, pelvic sepsis, abdominal sepsis, and urinary tract infections, which is caused by gram-negative bacteria like Shigella, Salmonella, E. coli, pneumonia, etc. And bacterial enterocolitis causes enterococcal, streptococcal, staphylococcal infection of heart valves, and also used in pneumonias, tuberculosis, tularemia, plague, brucellosis. For this, we have to give neomycin and famotidine topical and topical drugs are neomycin, famotidine. This is used in infections of conjunctiva and external ear to sterilize the bowel patients who receive immunosuppressive therapy before surgery and hepatic coma. And coming into the individual drugs, the first one is the streptomycin. It is a older antibiotic and obtained from Streptomyces species used in past, but now it is used for the treatment of tuberculosis. The antibacterium spectrum is relatively narrow spectrum antibiotic. It is sensitive to Haemophilus ducreae, Brucella, Yersinia, Nocardia, Mycobacterium, tuberculosis, E. coli, Klebsiella, Enterococci, and Shigella. This streptomycin is sensitive to organisms like Haemophilus ducreae, Brucella, Yersinia, Nocardia, Mycobacterium, tuberculosis, E. coli, Klebsiella, Enterococci, and Shigella. Coming to the resistance of the streptomycin, many organisms develop rapid resistance like E. coli, Streptococcus aureus, Streptococcus pneumonia are the resistant. It causes resistance. Resistance occurs by two steps. One is by mutation. One is the acquisition of the plasmid, which codes for the inactivation of enzymes. Inactivation of enzymes streptomycin is also inactivated enzymes by phosphorylate enzyme or adenylate the streptomycin. And streptomycin dependence, certain mutant, it becomes dependent on streptomycin as they promote mutant growth by induced misreading of the genetic code, which becomes normal feature for organisms. This is mainly occurs in the tuberculosis. It is also occurs cross resistance, partial or unidirectional cross resistance also occurs. Pharmacokinetics of streptomycin is neither observed nor destroyed in the gastrointestinal tract. This absorption from the injection site in muscle is rapid. It is distributed extracellularly and volume distribution is 0.3 liter per kg. It attains, streptomycin attains low concentration in synovial and pleural fluids. It is not metabolized and excreted unchanged in urine. Plasma half-life of streptomycin is 2 to 4 hours. Adverse effects of streptomycin which cause vestibular disturbance, auditory disturbance, and nephrotoxicity also rare. Nephrotoxicity also causes. It also causes ototoxicity, nephrotoxicity, and some rare adverse effects are rashes, eosinophilia, and dermatitis. It causes pain at injection site. Streptomycin is available as ambistrin 0.75 to 1 gram dry powder per week. Contraindications, it is contraindicated in pregnancy because it causes fetal ototoxicity. The dose is 1 gram or 0.75 gram intramuscularly once daily or thrice weekly for 30 to 60 milligrams. Sorry. The dose is 1 gram or 0.75 gram intramuscularly once daily or thrice weekly for 30 to 60 days. For acute infection, the dose of streptomycin is 1 gram intramuscularly once daily or twice a day for 7 days. Unused streptomycin is used in tuberculosis and subacute bacterial endocarditis. For this, it is given with along with penicillin, ampicillin, vancomycin for 4 to 6 weeks. And it is also used in plague. It's a rapid cure with 7 streptomycin with rapid cure within 7 to 12 days. And tularemia is a rare infectious disease that comes on skin, eyes, and lymph nodes. For this also will reduce with streptomycin within 7 to 10 days. Coming to the next drug, gentamicin, it was obtained from Micromonospora purpura in 1964 and has become most common antibiotic in active infections. The properties include plasma half-life 2 to 4 hours after intramuscular injection, same as streptomycin, but it has following differences from streptomycin because it's more potent than streptomycin. It has a broad spectrum of action and effective against Pseudomonas aeruginosa and most strains of Proteus, E. coli, Klebsiella, and Enterobacter. It is not effective against Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Streptococcus pyogenes, Streptococcus pneumoniae, and some Streptococcus aureus group of bacteria. It is more nephrotoxic drug. Compared to streptomycin, it has a broad spectrum of antibiotic action and effective against Pseudomonas aeruginosa and most strains of Proteus, E. coli, and Klebsiella. But it is also causes nephrotoxicity. Uses: gentamicin are restricted to serious gram-negative bacillary infections. It is used in septicemia, sepsis, fever in immunocompromised patients. For these conditions, we have to use with penicillins and cephalosporins. And also used in pelvic infections, gentamicin with metronidazole we have to give. And subacute bacterial infections with penicillin and ampicillin or vancomycin along with gentamicin, where gentamicin dose is 1 milligram per kg for 8 hours intramuscular injection. And it is also, gentamicin is also used in coliform infections, but it is effective with ampicillin or ceftriaxone. And pseudomonal infections, it is also used in pseudomonal infections along with ticarcillin. It is also used in conditions like meningitis by which is caused by gram-negative bacilli. In this condition, we have to give third generation of cephalosporins alone or with gentamicin. Topical infector, it is also, gentamicin is also used in topical infector burns, wounds, skin lesions. Kanamycin is the another type of aminoglycoside. It is obtained from Streptomyces kanamycetus. It is similar to streptomycin and even against Mycobacterium tuberculosis, but lack activity on Pseudomonas. More toxic to cochlea and kidney, so it is also causes nephrotoxicity and ototoxicity. Is loss of hearing is irreversible. When we will stop the drug, it is loss of hearing is irreversible. Because of toxicity and narrow spectrum, it is replaced by another drug. The kanamycin dose is 0.5 gram intramuscularly twice daily. Intramuscular bleeding. Tobramycin, it is identical to gentamicin and obtained from Streptococcus tenacious. It is used in Pseudomonas and Proteus infections. It is also less probable cause of phototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. The dose of tobramycin is 2 to 5 milligrams per kg body weight intramuscularly, 1 to 3 doses. Next individual drug of aminoglycoside is amikacin. It is a less toxic semi-synthetic derivative of the kanamycin, but more hearing loss occurs. Resistance to the enzymes that it inactivate gentamicin and tobramycin. And it is amikacin widest spectrum of activity. It is used as a gentamicin and is reserved drug for the hospital acquired gram-negative bacillary infections. It is a multi-drug resistant, tuberculosis resistant to streptomycin along with other drugs. It is a multi-drug resistant tuberculosis resistance to, when it resistance to streptomycin, it is also given along with other drugs. The dose of amikacin is 15 milligrams per kg body weight in 1 to 3 doses per day. And cysomycin, it is identical to gentamicin and also equal in toxicities and susceptible to the aminoglycosides. It is inactivating enzymes. When inactivated enzymes means these inactivated enzymes by peptidase or acetylase enzymes, it causes conjugated of cysomycin. Conjugated aminoglycoside, it do not bind to the effective ribosome. It does not cause protein synthesis, inhibition of the protein synthesis. So resistance will occur. It is more potent than Pseudomonas and beta hemolytic streptococci and obtained from the Micromonospora. Netilmycin, this is the synthetic aminoglycoside. This is the semi-synthetic derivative of the cysomycin. It is a more active against negative gram-negative bacteria like Klebsiella, Enterobacter, Staphylococcus, and less active against Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And doses and pharmacokinetics are similar to the gentamicin. Resistance to many enzymes that inactivate gentamicin to tobramycin. Resistance to many enzymes like phosphorylase, acetylase, and acetylase enzymes. It is inactivates gentamicin and tobramycin. It has lowest toxicity among aminoglycosides. It is used in septicemia, lower respiratory tract infections, urinary tract infections, peritonitis, and endometritis. It is netilmycin. This causes less toxicity compared to other aminoglycosides. It is used in septicemia, lower respiratory tract infections, urinary tract infections, peritonitis, and endometritis. Framacetine, it is obtained from the Staphylococcus lavandulae. It is similar to neomycin, toxic for systemic administration. It is used topically on ear and skin infections. Parapamycin, it is also like to neomycin. It is effective against visceral leishmanias by parenteral route. It is used in interstitial infections and treatment of hepatic encephalopathy and treatment of amoebiasis. And neomycin, it is obtained from Streptococcus fredii. It is active against gram-negative bacteria and some gram-positive cocci. Neomycin is actively against gram-negative bacilli like E. coli, Shigella pneumoniae, and gram-positive cocci like Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, and Pneumococcus bacteria, and it is obtained from Streptococcus fredii. It is too toxic for parenteral usage. It is a topical aminoglycoside, but is limited to topical usage. The dose of neomycin is 0.25 to 1 gram 4 times a day, and it is also available as topical application 0.3 to 0.5% like creams, ointments. And neomycin is topically used in skin, eye, external ear infections. It is combined with bacitracin or polymyxin B to widen the antibacterial spectrum and prevents the emergence of the resistance. It is and orally preparations of bowel before surgery 1 gram 3 times a day TDS, and it is also used in hepatic coma to suppresses the ammonia forming coliforms, prevents encephalopathy, and it is also used in bladder irrigation along with polymyxin B. And adverse effects of neomycin, it causes low sensitizing potential, and it is also causes rashes, oral neomycin damage, intestinal villi. This prolonged treatment causes malabsorption of syndrome and diarrhea. It causes rashes, the damages interstitial villi by oral when we take orally, and this prolonged treatment causes small absorption syndrome and diarrhea. It decreases the absorption of digoxin, bile acids, suppresses gut flora causing superinfection by candida. It is excreted unchanged in kidney causing damage and ototoxicity. It causes apnea due to muscle paralyzing action. These are the adverse effects. Neomycin is excreted unchanged in kidney causing damage and ototoxicity. This drug is also causes ototoxicity, and it causes apnea due to muscle paralyzing action. So this is the topical aminoglycoside. So in this class we discussed about aminoglycosides. This is the broad spectrum antibiotics. It has divided into two types, systemic and topical aminoglycosides, and we discussed about mechanism of action of aminoglycosides, and also we discussed about mechanism of resistance and adverse effects of aminoglycosides.